All righty. So let's go over the assignment from Friday. Let's go over that real quick so we're all on the same page. Oh, yep, sitting sideways here. Yeah, well, what can you do? What can you do? All right, so let's go over the diagram here at the top with pure speech, symbolic speech, and both. And both. What do we got here? What do we have here? So pure speech. What is that again? What is that again? What do we have for that? Go ahead, Z.
It's physically said.
Good work. Yeah. So this might be like an assembly. This might be at some for I don't know. It might be in the auditorium of the school. It just might be out in a park somewhere. Whatever it might be. So pure speech, specifically stated, it was said. Good. Good job. All right. What about symbolic speech? What about symbolic speech? Sarah, go ahead.
Some like non-verbally expressing. Also, it's unlike pure speech, it's to be interpreted instead of like directly stated.
Awesome. Yep. Good job. So your interpretation of that symbolic speech, like it might be clothing, it might be symbols, signs, whatever it might be. Okay. So it's not specifically stated. It's not specifically expressed, right, verbally, but it's speech that is given off, like you mentioned before, with interpretation. Okay. How people might, their opinion on a matter might be represented through what they wear. And the Tinker case is a good example of that. So don't forget that one. And then both. What do we have? Devin? What's that? Okay. All right. So there might be some limitations on it. But what about with both, with pure speech, symbolic speech? How do they both, I guess, send the message? Kind of give it away there a little bit. Joey?
I would use like give like a speech what they think is gonna go on.
Okay.
Like use the symbols and action for both of them. Gonna have probably the same word.
Yeah. They both send a message, right? They both are a way of some people to express their opinions about a certain matter, right? So they could do it verbally, they could do it symbolically. Okay, good. Good job. Awesome. I think it's cold here, Ms. O'Neill.
No.
Oh, a little chilly.
Oh, I got my rug.
Oh, there you go.
It was,
Yeah.
it was chilly in Mr. Schutt's room. I was freezing, but that was third period.
Oh,
Mr. Henninger's was kind of warm.
yeah. What do you think of that Notre Dame game, huh?
Did they lose?
They got whooped.
Good.
Yes. Yeah.
And guess who they got to play?
Alabama.
Yeah, that's my team.
Oh, are they? Oh, okay.
Roll call.
Well, that might even be a bigger loss for them. So we'll see.
I hope.
Yeah, we'll do it. All right, so moving down below here, the questions here for the court cases. Number 1, New York Times versus Sullivan. What do we have? I don't know we didn't specifically go over this one, but today I have an activity for you where you'll read a little bit more about that. Devin, see, good job. The court decided that even a newspaper story about an Alabama police commissioner was false. It was protected speech unless the statement was made with the knowledge that it was false, or with reckless regard, or whether it was false or not. Oh, okay. So you'll read about that more today. 2, Bethel School District versus Frazier. We went over this one. I know that. Austin, what do you have for 2? B, good work. The court ruled that the First Amendment does not prevent school officials from suspending students for lewd or indecent speech at school events, although the same speech would be protected outside a school building. Good job. And we had a discussion on that already. If, let's say, Frazier wanted to go and express his opinion about the matter, or give the same speech that he did about the person running for president, outside school grounds, then yeah, he probably would have got away with it. No problems. but since it was on school grounds, a little different. All right, 3, Chaplinsky versus New Hampshire. We went over this one here. Z, go ahead. D, the court ruled that lewd and obscene, profane, libelous, and insulting words which inflict injury or provoked a breach of the peace are contrary to good order in society and are therefore not protected by the First Amendment. Good. And then lastly, Brandenburg versus Ohio. Joey, go ahead. A. The KKK leader was arrested at a rally and cross-burning when he refused to end the rally. The court freed him, however, stating that advocating the use of force can't be forbidden unless it's directed or inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to produce such action. All right. So you'll read about that one more today as well. Okay. So real quick, bell ringer for you, just to review those court cases we went over on Friday and comparing it to the Tinker case, which is really important. This might be an short answer on a quiz or an assessment. We'll see. So describe how Hazelwood versus Colmar and Bethel versus Fraser differ from Tinker versus Des Moines. How are they different? How are they different? There you go. So I guess you could throw some similarities at it as well, but what I'm focusing on is how they differ. All right, so describe how Hazelwood versus Colmar and Bethel versus Fraser differ from Tinker versus Des Moines. So what do we got? What do we have? How do they differ? Sarah, go ahead.
I said that basically the Tinker case was, it ruled in favor of the students, and it defended their right to express their political beliefs and like personal opinions in school. But the other two cases did not rule in favor of the students who ruled in favor of schools, and it regarded not, instead of like personal belief or political opinion or anything like that, it was regarding kind of like what could be viewed as like obscene, unnecessary, or like distracting behavior or speech instead of like expression of opinions.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Good job. Good job. So Tinker versus Des Moines, we talked about that. The armband, symbolic speech. Okay. Colmar and Hazelwood, Bethel versus Frazier. They're a little bit more along the lines of opinionated speech. I know one was a newspaper, but they just didn't really have any type of political meaning behind it. It was all just kind of a speech that was almost targeting other students. And it was a part of the school day, which allowed the school officials to make the decision that they could limit that speech in the newspapers at an assembly. And in the case of Fraser, right, he really was outspoken in that assembly to a point where it caused a lot of issues with, obviously saying these terrible things around other students. And to make sure that that would never happen again, there were some repercussions on it because what he was saying was not appropriate. All right, but Tinkers versus Des Moines, okay, political opinion about the Vietnam War, right? Some school officials were trying to state that it did cause an issue to the work day, to the school day, because a lot of students were talking about the black armbands or saying how maybe it wasn't appropriate, but it was ruled in favor of the students for Tinker versus Des Moines. In those two court cases, Hazelwood versus Colmar, Bethel versus Frazier, sided with the school district. All right. Is there any questions on that, guys? You good with that? All right. So moving on today, you're going to have a quiz probably when we come back. Not the next day, obviously, because that's not right. But I want to make sure that we're all good to go on these court cases and free speech in schools. And this assignment right here, I'd like you to work on it today. So page 366 to 370 in the online textbook. Check that out. And you're just going to walk through. There's court cases on here that I'd like you to write a brief description on. You can answer these questions. Shouldn't take you too long to do. I'm going to sign that now. So please use your textbook. Go through those. Some might be ones we already went over, which should be easy for you to describe. And then some, obviously, we didn't get there yet. But for the court cases, there is almost like an index in the back of the book. Okay, well, I have to check. Maybe I didn't have it on the online textbook. But in any case, you can look up the court cases if you can't find them through the reading. Does that work? You will find them in the reading. They will be stated. But if you just want a little bit more description on it, you can look them up on the iPad. Okay? All righty. There you have it. You guys get working on that. And tomorrow we'll discuss it. We'll go over it, make sure everybody's on the same page. And that's it. Since tomorrow is really our last day. Wednesday's a half day. So
Now, will this class end?
I think,
We're on remote.
yeah, we will. I think so.
It's like one day. The 14th, I think, is the end of March.
Okay.
And we don't come back to the 19th. So it would just be one school.
Oh, okay.
And then you have another freedom class.
No, I don't. Yeah. So I guess we'll have the test when they come back, and that's it. The final.